Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Touchpoint Group Banking App Insight session. We're looking at the UK Challenger Banks for the month of November. And Tony Patrick, sometimes it's the little things that make big differences, isn't it? And we're going to have a little focus on Chase and have a look at a little dip that they had in October, and then coming out of that dip into November. What were those little things that impacted the app in October that dragged it down? And clearly, from there, what is it that you need to focus on to fix that and get a good, quick turnaround so that you're back on track in your upward trajectory? Over to you, Tony.
Great, thanks, Glenn. Yeah, UK challenges today. So looking at Starling, Monzo, Revolut, Atom Bank, Monese, Metro, and Chase. So let's just jump straight in and look at what's happened in this period. So first of all, we can see obviously there's a fair bit of movement going on, things going up and down, but there's clearly a sort of a rank here to some extent where we've got sort of Monese sitting at the base here, sort of sitting around 3 on average. We do see though that Chase UK has actually picked up across time, so they've done really well in this across this time period in there. Look at Starling is always sort of leading at the top there, although maybe something to look at next time. They've dropped below 4.5 for the first time in the past year. So that's something to look at a different time. Revolut is also then on the heels of Starling. They're closing that gap. So potentially, first quarter of next year, there may be a bit of a tussle between those two. What we're looking at today is Chase UK. So often we look at major movements, but what we're looking at here is what we can find out about why they moved down in October and then picked themselves back up in November. So let's move into that and have a look. So first of all, this is one angle you can look at this, is what actually happened across that time period. What did they release? So one of the things we can see is this period goes from the start of September. This is the past 3 months, essentially. Start of September to the end of November. And there's a few releases here. So one of the ones which was just right in the middle of that dip is version 1.16. So we'll have a look at that in a moment as to why that's happened. And let's have a look here at version 1.18 and version 1.19. So they have actually been the cause of that turnaround. So whatever has been done by Chase in there, which we'll have a look at, has actually made that turnaround happen. So let's have a quick look, though, at what's happening in version 1.16. So a bit of a helicopter view of what's going on. So first of all, have a look at this. This is more just the vibe. So what are people talking about? What are the major conversations going on? So shocking app, shocking experience. There's problems with approved payments, etc. So app issue. So again, clearly there's something going on here. Shocking app is the center of that attention. But we can actually look at this from a detailed perspective about what journeys, what particular things are going on. So in here, we've got things like app is crashing. I'm forced to log in multiple times. Authorizations, a bad experience. Other things as well, there's failed payments and transactions. So clearly there's a massive problem that Chase would have been aware of, and they've gone out and actually made some fix to this. So if I look, what I might do is combine these versions here because they have a very similar story, 1.18, 1.19. We can see from a similar perspective what we just saw before. So first of all, those themes. So what's the vibe? What's the broad conversation? It's easy. There's something about a slow update. Okay, interesting. That's probably something to look at as well. There's other things going on, but again, you don't get that shocking or that sort of like in-your-face problem. Let's look though at the detail because this is just the broad conversation. What's actually going on in terms of journey? So this for me is a massive turnaround. So there's some improvement in security and login features, although there is still some problems there, but it's still an improvement from what we saw before. A few small things like slow to open, and there's things like app cashback features not that good. But again, it just gives us an idea there's been that turnaround, which is great. Let's have a look though in a bit more detail here. Let's move forward a bit here. Let's have a look at, and this point here is looking at what has changed in terms of our SURF pillars. Now, our SURF pillars are basically security and authentication, usability, reliability, and functionality. These are the 4 key areas you need to perform well on to actually achieve a higher score. And here, the lower score is better because these are all pain points. You want these as low as you can. So we saw there was an improvement in security and authentication in that previous graphic. And so that's great. It's an improvement. It's gone down from 5.9 to 3.4. But two of the biggest things on the right, though, are reliability and functionality. They were reliability, like 1 in 5 customers are talking about reliability issues in October. That's actually improved into November. Let's have a look, though, at functionality. That's had a similar type of improvement across there as well. Let's jump in there and have a look at what we have a look at in terms of functionality. Actually, what I might do first, what would be easier, is to look at this from a more detailed perspective across these apps as well. So if we look at this is more detail on that functionality piece. So this broad topic of functional suitability, but also money transfer feature, and basically the basic things like checking my account balance. So what I've got on the right here is just having a look at this poor money transfer feature, which you think it should work. It's the basic function of an app. And we can see here, have been left unable to make payments due to the service being down, issue transferring money, things here, I can't make payments, left unable to make payments, etc. We can see here this is version 1.16. This is the one we talked about, which is the one where the issue happened. So clearly this is one point. They've actually fixed the security, but also some basic things like making sure the money transfer feature actually works. So a good turnaround there for Chase.
Yeah, great to see that sort of turnaround for Chase, and good to see that there is some consistency in the way that they're approaching these things. And looking forward to coming back in January and doing a review of 2022 and seeing who the movers and shakers are in the market. Thanks again, Tony, and we'll see you all next month.